icy enigma that haunts the dreams of every cosmic explorer. In 2006, we condemned it to obscurity, branding it a mere dwarf planet. But what if I told you this chilling remnant holds secrets that could shake the very foundations of our understanding? This is the true story of Pluto, the beautiful, freezing nightmare that devours everything it touches. What if I told you this exiled king is anything but lifeless? What if I told you it hides a terrifying beauty that can consume all who dare to venture too close? When we finally sent our cameras 4 billion miles into the abyss, what we uncovered shattered our assumptions and unveiled a nightmare. A world of floating mountains of glass, skies that bleed red snow, and a giant pale heart pulsating with toxic fury. This is the true story of Pluto, the beautiful, freezing nightmare that devours everything it touches. We anticipated a silent, frozen rock. Instead, we encountered a world of nightmares, floating mountains of glass, skies that bleed red snow, a giant pale heart pulsating with toxic fury. For decades, we labeled it a planet, only to discard it like a forgotten toy. Pluto, the exiled king of our solar system, is very much alive, a beautiful, chilling nightmare that devours all it touches. Imagine hurtling into the void for nearly a decade at 50,000 miles per hour. You push farther from Earth, the sun shrinks, transforming from a blinding beacon of life into just another flickering point in an endless black sea. By the time you reach Pluto's orbit, sunlight is a ghost, a whisper compared to the vibrant warmth of home. If you stood on its surface, the sky wouldn't be blue. It would be a pitch-black twilight, a haunting reminder of isolation. In the summer of 2015, our cameras pierced through the darkness. Across this world lay a giant heart, a pale, eerie anomaly glowing in the void. The media called it cute, a cosmic symbol of love. The truth, that heart is a gaping impact crater, 1,000 meters wide, filled with an ocean of frozen poison churning and boiling beneath the surface. Scientists named it Sputnik Planitia, a colossal glacier made entirely of solid nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. Yet this glacier is a living entity. Deep within its icy depths lies a core that retains a trace of radioactive heat, causing the frozen nitrogen to boil and churn like a cauldron of doom. Any asteroid that dares to strike is swallowed whole, dragged into the abyss, and erased forever. This is a sea that consumes everything it touches. The true terror of Pluto lies at the edges of this toxic sea. If you stood on the shores of Sputnik Planitia, you would stare upon mountains that rise thousands of feet into the black sky. On Earth, mountains are forged from rock. Here, rock is irrelevant. The surface temperature plummets to a bone-chilling -390 degrees Fahrenheit. At this extreme, water ice becomes as hard as steel. Those jagged peaks, soaring over 10,000 feet high, float on the surface like monstrous icebergs, breaking off and drifting across the poisonous sea. Imagine a mountain range the size of the Alps slowly creeping toward you, an ominous presence against a backdrop of white poison. Atop these peaks, the snow is not white. It is a deep, blood-red hue. When faint ultraviolet rays from the distant sun strike the frozen methane, they trigger a sinister chemical reaction that creates complex organic compounds, falling from the sky like eternal rain and coating the landscape in dark red dust, a freezing world marred with blood-stained mountains of floating glass. For years, We believed Pluto was a solid, frozen rock, but the weight of the nitrogen glacier should have caused it to roll over eons ago. The only explanation lies deep beneath its surface, a massive subsurface ocean of liquid water, kept from freezing by the crushing pressure of ice above and a trace of warmth from below. In this cold, dark corner of the solar system, there might be a pitch-black ocean hiding secrets we can only imagine. As our spacecraft sped away into the Kuiper Belt, it turned back for one last glimpse. It captured Pluto, eclipsing the sun, revealing a delicate blue atmosphere surrounding a silhouette of darkness. A haunting beauty, a moment of clarity before we left it to its savage solitude. Pluto does not exist in isolation. Locked in a gravitational embrace is its largest moon, Charon. Charon is so massive compared to Pluto that they orbit an empty point in space between them, forming a binary system spinning endlessly in the void. If you stand on one side of Pluto, Charon looms large, always there, never setting, an unblinking eye in the black sky. Charon's north pole is stained with a massive dark red spot known as the Mordor Macula. This sinister stain is gas that escaped from Pluto's atmosphere, drifting through the void and freezing onto Charon's surface. They are two cosmic outcasts, sharing a bleeding atmosphere, clinging to each other in the cold depths of our solar system. We may have stripped it of its title and labeled it a dwarf, but Pluto remains a king in its own right, the undisputed ruler of the Kuiper Belt, a world of red snow, floating mountains, underground oceans, and a beating, freezing heart. It doesn't require our validation. It will persist in its silent dance in the dark long after our sun has extinguished. As isolated and mysterious as Pluto is, its silence is a mercy. If you venture closer to the sun, that silence is shattered, replaced by a deafening roar. You will find a monstrous planet where winds scream at 2,000 kilometers per hour, tearing the atmosphere apart, and where rain falls as solid diamonds. But that is a tale for another time. Keep looking up and stay curious.